evening, welcome...
I'm not going to let that go.
Oh, are you? OK, yeah. I mean...
Michael Gove levelling up.
Good evening.
Welcome
to Have I Got News for You?
I'm Adrian Dunbar.
I'm Victoria Cora-Mitchell.
I'm Richard Ayoade.
I'm David Tennant. In the news this week...
There's frustration as one pub quiz team struggles to remember just how many members there were in S Club 7.
After completing his 363rd tournament, Roger Federer finally decides it's time to quit.
At the Universal Studios theme park, there's a mixed reaction to the new Alfred Hitchcock ride.
In the Midlands, one train driver is unaware of just how far behind schedule they are with the construction of HS2.
As one dog grooming salon reopens in Bicester, Alan Carr's pug arrives for a nail trim.
Okay.
And in Bournemouth, after his wife has a fall, a resourceful pensioner makes sure she has access to vital resources until help arrives.
Well, this is Boris Johnson trying to stir up some enthusiasm for the vaccine programme. Perhaps not wise to suggest he might be involved in any part of it.
Ah, small prick. Don't be so hard on yourself.
This is a roadmap out of where we are at the moment.
5 footballers in the current England squad are not vaccinated, and even more serious than that, Ian, obviously, there's 3 Strictly Come Dancing pros who are not
Yes, yeah, but we're not allowed to know who they are, and people are quite upset.
Does the vaccine react against chiffon? Have they confused DNA sequence with sequins?
I just say I think they should make the injections hurt a bit more so we all know we've had one.
Yeah. They should start recruiting unqualified people.
Yes, I'll do it. I'll do it and it'll hurt like buggery.
Well, I think that goes in the arm, to be honest.
Does anyone know why the politics editor of the Liverpool Echo, Liam Thorpe, aged 32 with no underlying health conditions, was offered the vaccine?
Oh, yes.
They thought his BMI was incredibly high because they thought he was 2 inches tall.
Yes.
He had an astonishingly high BMI of 28,000, which is 1,000 times the average.
Relatable after lockdown.
Yeah. Due to him weighing 17.5 stone and his GP surgery listing his height as 6.2 centimetres.
Why might Immensa be responsible for a bit of the increase?
They're a lab that have been caught out, producing dodgy results.
False negatives, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, Immensa have been accused of messing up around 40,000 test results, and officials are now halted testing at the private test centre in Wolverhampton. Yeah. Bollocks, I've lost page 10.
That's what the scientists said.
Boris keeps saying, I don't see anything in the data. Like that's his skill set. It's wild.
Well, it's one of those ways the English language can sort of fool and bemuse you. I don't see anything in the data. Not there isn't anything in the data.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Do you think that's like a class at Eton? You know what I mean? Like dodge using English.
Not in my day. Yeah. Well, I was just a caretaker.
I'd love to see a sitcom where you're a caretaker.
Yeah, that's it.
Or what's
Eat and mess.
And Ian is the principal, and you two have like a real cigarette and sweeping chats about the world.
For a laugh, we swap hats, and some new parents come round and they think I'm the principal, and they think he's the caretaker, and off we run, 10-part series.
I'm not against it at all.
No.
Yeah. I meet all the new mums. Hello, darling.
So what have you all done this week that wasn't legal last week? Pubs, shops, salons and staycations are back. Let's see two people delighted to be able to visit a restaurant in Cranley, Surrey. Yes, that looks fun, doesn't it? How I've missed those spur-of-the-moment, impromptu, quick drinks with mates, where you just go online to the local pub's website, access the booking form, find an hour-and-a-half window on April the 23rd between 5:45 and 7:15 in the garden, use a credit card to pay a deposit to secure the booking and enter the names, emails and mobile phone numbers of each of the people who will be attending and chill.
Boris Johnson was criticised after 50 people attended a boozy Christmas party at Downing Street during last year's lockdown. Keir Starmer is in the clear as he also threw a party, but no one turned up.
The Edinburgh Fringe starting early.
Yeah.
Oh, let's all give each other COVID. Yeah, go. Yeah. Bolsonaro on his day off.
What's he doing there?
I think that's a gesture. He kept labouring this. It's about keeping 1.5 alive. So the right hand is 1 and the left hand is 5.
And he's the decimal point in the middle.
He is.
At last we found a point to Boris Johnson. Isn't that nice?
But why does Boris Johnson think the situation is improving?
Well, there were a couple of agreements.
China and America have agreed to cut some emissions.
And someone who didn't do that is Joe Biden. He farted in front of Camilla.
I love this story so much.
Which genuinely seems to have been the best thing that's ever happened to her. She seems delighted by it.
I mean, a source told the Daily Mail it was long and loud and impossible to ignore. Camilla hasn't stopped talking about it.
Incredible.
While the world's most important people meet up in Glasgow, one man begins to wonder whether his invitation was delivered next door.
There's a little bit of hope. Do you know who is the Prime Minister hoping to get some money out of?
Bill Gates.
Yeah, you're right. We've got a little clip of the press conference with Bill Gates.
I think Bill's putting in 200 million. If I got the numbers
Just
right.
checking.
Just checking. There's no
400 each.
400 each, is it?
Yeah.
Well, hang on.
Now, the Queen has pulled out of hosting a reception for world leaders at the conference. What would she be doing instead?
Is she hosting the One Show?
Could well be.
I tell you who's done a lot to reduce their carbon footprint. Prince Andrew.
Yes.
He's not left his house for months. Good on him.
Andrew's not going because the word cop is in the title.
Charles is doing something for the environment. What's he doing?
What's his car running on? Something really...
This is great.
Wine and
His
whey.
car runs on cheese and surplus wine. Why would anyone ever have surplus wine? He revealed this in an interview with the BBC journalist Justin Rowlett, who'd been given exclusive access to his autumn garden. Here he is trying to help himself to some of Charles's fruits.
Are these the edible ones? No.
Yeah. But the extraordinary thing is none of the birds eat them.
But they are
But there are
really...
different varieties of them. I wouldn't... No, it's all right.
Oh, he's going to regret that.
How low is BBC pay now?
We have to forage.
I didn't see you touch the babies.
In other environment news, who has made a not-so-welcome return this week?
Insulate Britain.
Yes.
Insulate Britain. Well, they didn't go away, did they?
They've been gluing more things to the road this week.
Yes. Somebody glued their face.
Somebody glued their face to the road.
That's right.
Brings a new meaning to the phrase keeping your ear to the ground.
I mean, of all the silly things to do.
Oh, that was a very careful silly. Oh, you can spot a sitting MP, can't you? Money being paid to an MP to oh, it's Owen Paterson, here we are. Yes, he's explaining why he's innocent. That's the House of Lords. That'll be a knighthood, thank you very much. Oh, a peerage, thank you very much. And would you like to be Commissioner for Standards? I can throw that in. Oh, talking of low standards, here he comes. This is the attempt by the government to cover up the misdeeds of one of their own Tory MPs and to undermine democracy, transparency and accountability. And they failed. Due to the fact that it was so bloody blatant that even they didn't get away with it. So there's a man called Owen Paterson who was paid $100,000 a year to lobby on behalf of 2 companies. He did. The Commissioner for Standards looked into him, found he was guilty, said, "You did it." He said, "I didn't do it. It wasn't me. I haven't had a chance to plead my case." He had. It's absolutely unbelievably clear-cut. And then all his Tory mates started a campaign and the Prime Minister said, "Oh, right, we're changing the entire system now." I mean, it was really quite shocking.
All that was going to happen to him was he got a 30-day suspension. I mean, think of all the consultancy work he could have done in those 30 days.
To give more transparency, it seems to me the way to do it is that all MPs should have to wear the name of their sponsors on their shirts.
Great idea.
Like footballers. Or a sort of jokey badge that says, "I am Serco's bitch," or something like that.
It was found that a series of treasurers had donated £3 million and got peerages.
I mean, you would think they bought it. I mean, obviously I didn't think that, because, you know, I want to stay out of jail.
There's going to be an internal inquiry into whether Boris Johnson broke the ministerial code. Who will have the final say on that matter?
He will.
Carrie.
Boris Johnson.
Boris Johnson.
It's called an internal inquiry because you can shove the findings up your arse.
Lord Brownlow, he was the chap who contributed very kindly £58,000 towards redecorating the Prime Minister's flat.
That's just Boris with no hair. Why are they sharing a fence?
Well, you can talk.
His restyled decor is said to have been inspired by eco-interior designer Lulu Little. There she is, whose style is described as squat chic.
It's more sort of Ottoman knocking shop, isn't it?
Ottoman knocking shop, can I help you?
In the Lulu Little showroom, one man stands and dreams.
He's in John Lewis. He deliberately went to John Lewis to do a photo op, and the Conservative spokesman said, "Look at him, he's playing politics." You thought, that's his job. It's the leader of the opposition.
Well, staying on the subject of sleaze, who fancies a game of Crony Connect?
Oh, that's brilliant.
Who is this and what's their connection to the government? Ian and Josh?
I think that is Matt Hancock's sister, but I don't know her name.
Is it Emily Gilruth?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yes, it is. How am I?
You must
You know
think
what?
we're really stupid or something on this show.
Oh, my
We
word.
are.
Do you know what? Only Connect's not as difficult as it looks on TV, is it?
Should we call this round Can You Read Out Loud?
And why is Matt Hancock's sister in the news?
Oh, because she has been given an NHS contract, coincidentally, while he was Health Secretary.
She owns shares in the company that won contracts to supply the NHS in Wales. And who else owned shares in the company?
The horse.
He did.
Matt Hancock himself did.
What?
Yes, Matt Hancock and his sister owned shares in the company that got the contract, and a government spokesman said Mr. Hancock has acted entirely properly.
I think I'm literally the only person who hasn't had one of these contracts. I'm joking, I do have one.
All this obviously been going on. What has Boris been up to this week?
On holiday.
On holiday.
Been on holiday.
Doing a bit of painting.
Yes, that's right. He's flown to Marbella. There we are. Look at that.
Doesn't look like it's going very well, does it?
We've even got a we've got a special exclusive glimpse of what he's working on. There we go.
Always reverts to that sort of that favourite persona that he's got, which is that of a sort of children's party entertainer, Mr. Fisty Pump.
That's not just a children's entertainer. And that was actually on the Tory expenses scandal.
I think you're being unfair to Boris, and that's the one thing we're not going to be on this programme, because we've got a new Culture Secretary, Nadine Dorries, and she's looking out for any hint of bias. So, you won't find any here.
Sorry, can I just check? So the new Culture Secretary is most famous for eating kangaroo penis.
No, that's unfair. She ate an ostrich anus.
We all need a
swallowed it.
Was that at the conference or when she was on Amsterdam?
Oh, no. To be fair, it was harder than it sounds because the ostrich was doing about 34 miles an hour at the time.
Anyway, she ate the anus and now she's talking out of it.
You all know last Friday, the nation was united in sorrow following the sad announcement that the much-loved MasterChef final had been taken. Incidentally, if you are offended by jokes about Prince Philip, that's fine. It's what he would have wanted.
I just want to say, Adrian, this is difficult for you because it is, a major, historical figure has died. But when Margaret Thatcher died, Brian Blessed hosted the show, and you can imagine that 2 minutes silence was very hard to achieve.
The BBC coverage of the Prince Philip story has become the most complained about event in TV history. They had so many complaints, 110,000 of them, that they had to make a special form to accommodate them.
This was about the Queen Mother, and the BBC got it in the neck then because they didn't put on enough coverage of the Queen Mother.
When newsreader Peter Sissons was accused of having a too frivolous tie and a suit that wasn't dark enough. And the news editor said to him, "Don't go overboard. She's a very old woman who had to." How did Prince Philip progress to the chapel at Windsor?
Land Rover.
That's right. He travelled in a customised Land Rover, which he designed himself, to carry his own coffin. According to the Times, it used to cause Prince Philip wry amusement that many of those involved in the planning of his funeral died long before him. So the Queen decreed that all the men had to wear suits. Whose plans did that thwart?
Well, that's dear old Prince Andrew, who was desperate to dress as an admiral. I think they've just gone a bit to seed during lockdown, like a lot of us have, put on a bit of weight, and frankly, the only clothes that fit anymore will be their pyjamas.
That'll be good for the royal commentators. And here he comes, wearing Marks and Spencer.
Pyjamas, of course, invented by Prince Philip.
And there's the royal hot water bottle.
Otherwise known as Princess Michael of Kent.
How has the late Duke of Edinburgh been commemorated by North Lincolnshire Council? With its highest honour, they've named a gritter after him.
No.
What do you think it's called?
I was thinking it was Greta Thunberg. Give us a break.
It's called the Duke of Spreadingborough.
I'm glad that nobody here could think of that.
It's going to work alongside Britney Spears.
It's what he would have wanted.
So on to round two. Fingers on buzzers, teams. What news story is this?
Yes, in an attempt to revive his popularity, Keir Starmer is going to interview Piers Morgan. And his twin brothers appearing with him in the middle.
It's a very successful format. You have to go on and cry.
Yes.
And then everyone loves you.
Yes, they do.
Very, very simple.
So he'll be asking him about the latest by-elections then.
What did we learn?
He moisturises.
But he wouldn't say what.
He was asked whether he took drugs. Piers Morgan was very keen to ask him whether he took drugs when he was at university. And he wouldn't answer that question. He just said he had a good time.
Well, surely at university, Ian, you must have been, enticed into taking some snuff at some point.
Actually, let's put it this way, Paul. We had a good time.
What did Keir Starmer let slip this week? We learnt something about him.
He was at a cereal factory and they said, "Your name's Keir," and he went, "Yes, Special Keir Cat," and he fumbled the joke completely.
His nickname is Special K. And it has been pointed out subsequently that Special K is a nickname for ketamine.
Yeah.
Tranquilizer that put horses to sleep. I mean, Keir Starmer works on humans, too.
But you wouldn't speak to him, would you, Dawn? Would you? Would you speak to him? I mean, you're a bit of a Corbyn fan, aren't you?
Of course I would speak to Keir. Keir's the leader of the Labour Party. I'm a Labour MP.
I just
You
read
don't
this
stop
on
me-
I read this in some research I was looking at earlier on.
Keir's all right.
Yeah.
There's a real endorsement.
Who are people comparing Keir Starmer to?
Napoleon.
No, not quite that far.
Okay.
Sooty.
It is Sooty. No, it's not Sooty.
Queen Victoria.
No.
What's the initials?
As soon as I give you the initials, I think you might have an idea. IDS.
Ian Duncan Donuts.
Oh, Ian Duncan Smith.
Yes.
Right.
I thought that was a sexual disease. Sorry, I was thinking of irritable bowel syndrome.
IBS.
IBS.
Yeah.
That's the one I was thinking.
In which case, the comparison is pretty rude, isn't it?
Yes, it is. One's a pain in the arse and the other one's...
Founder of Universal Credit.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if you think that's a massive insult to compare him to Ian Duncan-Smith, but he is definitely getting it in the neck. A local Hartlepool man, Liam Westmoreland, told The Guardian there's beer mats with more personality than Keir Starmer.
Let's have a look at Keir connecting with the electorate.
Pleased to meet you. I don't even recall ever seeing you before, so you're not out there, are you? At the minute, anyway. Well, I wouldn't have known who you were.
OK, thank you. Well, we can fix
No
that.
disrespect or anything. It's very nice to see you.
I think he's an all right bloke. I think he's a decent bloke, but he's just... he seems like the first bloke that your mum dates after she gets divorced. Do you know what I mean? You're at a family do. You're all in the room going, you know what? He makes her happy. He treats her well. Yes, he's a bit of a melt, but, you know, let's just stick by him while she rebuilds her self-esteem.
What on earth is that?
I do my own prop work.
Ian.
And so now, the human dynamo of news.
Wow!
That's right. I'm going to be powering up the pictures with my own energy using this arm bike. That's what it's called, an arm bike.
Blimey. I see you've got a bulb there. What's the purpose of that?
This is just for the show. I'm not actually making enough power. There's a man under the table who's just switching it on. But the point is, I'm going to give it a go.
Right,
I mean this, not the man. He's safe. Fingers on buzzers.
Yeah.
Here's the first one.
Presumably, this is the war with us and France over
Yes.
fishing rights.
That's what it is. Can I ask, what is the sitch with the fish? The sitch with the fish. I'm using street talk, Ian.
It's a phony war between Britain and France, which suits both parties very well because Macron's got an election coming up and the first rule of British politics is, if in trouble, annoy the French.
So how are talks progressing?
I think they're going quite well.
Jersey's Assistant Environment Minister, Gregory Guida, and other officials sailed out to meet the French fishermen for discussions, which, according to BBC Jersey, may involve shouting from boat to boat due to COVID restrictions. What are you going to do then? Yeah, I'll do that.
Well, they've got a curfew as well, haven't they, still? So...
I am very angry, but I have to be back for tea time. Yeah.
You know, the French fishermen are furious with Macron for giving in.
With mackerel.
With Macron. Yeah, President Macron.
Would you like to see him looking a little bit silly?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Here he is in the summer being welcomed on the island of Manihi.
Speaking of conflicts between France and Britain, what recent Napoleonic artefact was sold last week?
Not the wallpaper that was supposed to have poisoned him or anything like that.
Yeah, still available at Liberty. And no, it was one of his signature hats. Or, as the Sun put it, Battle of Waterloo loser, Napoleon's hat, sold for £160,000 yesterday. Yeah. You lost. You lost, mate.
People have been recreating very famous pictures inside a microchip.
Yeah, this is the news that micro artist David A. Linden has created works of art small enough to fit into the eye of a needle.
Oh, the eye
that
of
have
a
sold for £15,000 each. His pieces are recreations of famous artworks, including Van Gogh's Sunflowers. There we are. And
Wow.
Look at that context there.
How does he manage to do that? Is he tiny himself?
It takes him...
Is he like sort of 2 inches tall?
They take him months to complete. What complicates the process for David?
Because it's small!
Yeah. He's got a 5-inch brush.
He says, being alive is the problem. David wrote on his website, my hands still jump a little as my heart beats. So I work in a rhythm between each pulse.
Blimey.
Finishing the art is fantastic, he added, but I don't really enjoy it.
In other news, who was said to have committed treason this week?
Not Prince Andrew again.
No, it's an artist, 24/6, who posted online a portrait he'd done of Her Majesty. Did you see the portrait?
Oh my! She looks like a chihuahua.
the painting on the left there?
It looks a bit like Alan Johnson in drag.
He did Prince Andrew as well, do you want to see?
Yeah.
Oh, he's like a thumb.
Strangely true to life.
Sticking with things that are offensive to the eye.
He's not done one of me and Ian, has he?
Done a likeness of both Paul and Ian, so let's have a look.
Oh, God.
Here's Ian. Here's Paul. That's the part. And if you'd like to see any more of his work, it'll be in a skip outside the studio.
Why has this dinosaur statue in Portsmouth been upsetting locals?
It comes out live at night and eats children.
It's a size issue, right? It's too small. This is the original statue. Now, that burnt down, right? I don't know how. And then £35,000 replacement, 11 years later, is this.
Can I just check on the size of that dog before I criticise?
Finally, would you like to see a picture that makes Joe Biden look massive?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So, Joe Biden and his wife Jill posed for a photo this week with the former President Jimmy Carter and his wife Rosalind. There we are.
I think what Jimmy and Rosalind have done, though, is what a lot of people of their age do, and they've just downsized.
It appears to be Dominic Raab in a curry. Has he been turned into curry? Is this one of the stories I've missed?
It's not that. Any idea on that over, Phil?
Is this something to do with Dominic Raab said he's like the Vindaloo of politics now, so he's a hot curry guy?
He compares himself to a Vindaloo. One person working in his department said the only thing Raab's got in common with a Vindaloo is that he's a pain in the arse.
Why did Dominic Raab lose his rag this week?
Was the misogyny thing this week? No, that was last week.
That was last week. That was last week.
Scored, wasn't it?
A minister told The Guardian that whilst at the conference, two people addressed him as Deputy Prime Minister and he bit their ear off because he thought they were taking the piss out.
I bet the two people were Priti Patel and Michael Gove.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Dominic Raab's got a great idea of how to solve the HGV shortage. Do you know what it is?
Convicts.
Yes, that's right. Let's have a look at the clip.
Government's Justice Secretary, driven by a prisoner. Dominic Raab today highlighting a scheme where convicts are helping with the HGV crisis. Behind the wheel was Dean. He's on day release from jail working in haulage. His offence was importing drugs involving a lorry.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Things are now being done purely for comic effect.
Yeah. But Ian Duncan Smith's got an HGV licence.
The Queen's got one.
Has she?
Yeah, left over from the war.
Yeah, any German who has a license before about 1997 is allowed to drive an HGV, and my father's German. And so they sent letters out to all the Germans that had a license from before 97 and said, hey, would you like to help us sort out our infrastructure? And my dad said, well, that's what we tried to do in the 40s, but you wouldn't let us.
Earlier this summer, Dominic Raab lost his job as Foreign Secretary after relaxing on holiday during the Afghan crisis. Raab denied he'd been paddleboarding on holiday in Crete, saying the sea was closed. Oh, what a great idea. How'd you do that? Asked Priti Patel.
How is Boris Johnson using Matt Hancock, according to the Sunday Times?
It was a heat-seeking, sacking the individual. When eventually somebody has to go for the cock-ups during the initial stages of the pandemic, then he'd be the one to go, with his reputation intact. He arrived as an idiot, he left as an idiot.
Criticising the Health Secretary, Dominic Cummings claimed Matt Hancock should have been fired for at least 15 to 20 reasons, although Hancock has pledged to get that number up to 100,000.
What was Matt Hancock up to at the weekend?
He did the marathon.
He did the London Marathon.
He's obviously done enough running lately. So why not put that to good use and raise some money for charity?
Yeah, he raised quite a lot of money, I think, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's given it to his mate who runs his local pub. What were the crowd shouting at Matt to encourage him to finish? Any ideas?
No.
No, let's have a look.
Hancock, you shagger!
Who unbelievably got a new job this week?
Matt Hancock.
Absolutely right, yes. Described by Tom Tugendhat as a fascinating choice. After being given the job by the UN, helping African countries after COVID, Matt Hancock said, "We share a view of Africa as a strategic long-term partner." Hasn't got a great record with long-term partners.
Can I just point out that I work for the BBC and I'm completely balanced, and my opinion of Matt Hancock is unchanged.
There's fuel shortages.
Yes, correct.
What else will we be short of, according to the scaremongers?
Toys.
Absolutely right, yes. What's wrong with pants?
What, no pants?
No, cotton prices are at a 10-year high, thanks to a shortage because of bad weather, wiped out the American cotton crops. So pants,
Yes, but that won't affect the pants that we already have.
No, that's true.
I mean...
They asked a local expert on the news what to do if there aren't any turkey this...
Turkis?
That as well?
No, I know, turkis.
What's that, a cross between a turkey and a circus?
I'd go.
I wouldn't.
Here's our local expert, here he is.
If there are no turkeys, you always get a big chicken.
There you are.
Now, due to COVID and the shortages, why might it be easier to get into a club this year? When you go into a club,
yes,
what's there to sort of make it difficult for you?
The music for me.
Security, the bouncers. Oh, there's a shortage of bouncers.
That's right.
Yes.
There's a shortage of bouncers.
Yes.
Oh.
Which is great news for you, Ian, because you don't need to keep colouring your trainers with a Sharpie. I don't even know what that means, Ian, but anyway.
So why is there a shortage of bouncers?
There's not enough of them.
It's going to be...
I don't think there's a shortage in Essex. Everyone's a bouncer.
Everyone?
Oh, a bouncer every 3 doors along.
Can you have one in your own home?
How do you know I haven't? And I saw you outside on the lawn the other morning, yeah.
Economist explanation for why there's such a shortage of everything is known as the Great Supply Chain Crisis, which means that things like tankers are in the wrong part of the world, but obviously bouncers are in Essex, which is obviously the wrong part of the world.
There you go. There you go.
And there are no lorries to take the bouncers to other bits of the country.
You can't transport them a lot.
Yeah, because you can get about 1,000 of them in the back of one of those big trucks, can't you?
But they can't get into the trucks because the truck drivers say, "You're not coming in here dressed like that."
At the opening of a new university in Moscow, one student picks the worst possible day to wear his new platform shoes.
In Essex, 33-year-old Barry Gibbons' claims that he is the second incarnation of Jesus are swiftly undermined.
Look at the state of my feet. I've got to try and get over there.
And at his home in Islington, it appears that even Keir Starmer's dog has lost respect for him.
OK, it's time now for the odd one out round. Just one between you this week. Your 4 are French Vogue, the name Nigel, Boris and Boris, and Hanforth Parish Council.
Is it that French Vogue is closed, the name Nigel's dying out?
Yep.
Hanforth Parish Council closed down?
He's moving. Is she live? Is she the odd one out? She's the only one that's live now.
Are you on Zoom, Jackie Weaver?
Am I anywhere other than on Zoom?
What was the question?
So she's the odd one out because she's the only one that's live, as opposed to the other ones.
Well, no, it's not that. It's not that. Jackie's not the odd one out.
Oh, she's not?
No. OK, I'm going to tell you the answer. They're all changing the name except for the name Nigel, which isn't being used anymore. No more Nigels. I tell you what, no, the Handforth Parish Council, of which Jackie is obviously our famous member, they shot to fame earlier this year as a result of a chaotic Zoom meeting. Let's remind ourselves of what happened.
You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver. No authority at all.
Just wait. No, she's kicked him out. Don't. She's kicked him out. Don't.
This is a meeting called by two councillors.
Illegally?
They now elect a chairman.
No, they can't because the vice chair's here. I take charge. Read the standing orders. Read them and understand them.
What's happened to him, Jackie?
I think he's allowed to use an iPad on its own now.
So, Jackie, in order to distance themselves from that debacle, the Handforth Parish Council decided to change their name. What's it called now?
Handforth Town Council.
OK, well,
that's brilliant. We'd never have guessed.
Thank you very much, Jackie Weaver. Now, the Office for National Statistics has revealed that the name Nigel is on the decline. What would parents rather call their babies than Nigel?
Anything.
Anything.
More babies were called Lucifer last year.
Oh, wow.
Than were called Nigel.
We mentioned Nigel Farage's venture into personal video messaging last week.
Yes.
Let's take a look at how that's going.
Right, yeah, lovely.
Happy birthday, Hugh Janus.
Was that him looking into a mirror?
In other news, a fish and chip shop in Greenwich got into trouble recently over its name. Can anyone think of a mildly offensive name for a fish and chip shop?
Fish and shit.
Chip or fix it?
It's named after a terrible murderer.
Hitler's Fish Bar. Jack the Chipper.
Jack the Chipper! It is Jack the Chipper. Well done. Here's the chip shop owner himself, Recep Turhan. He got into a lot of trouble. The locals didn't like it. They decided to boycott the shop, claiming it glorifies the serial killer. And they also suggested the business hates women. So how has he tried to prove that he isn't supporting a murderer?
Did he do ladies' night? On Tuesday.
Yes, he did ladies' night. They had a half-price day for women.
Time now for the missing words round. And we start with Angela Merkel what before she leaves office?
Steals all the stationery?
Yeah, nicks all the envelopes.
The answer is Angela Merkel commemorative teddies sell out before she leaves office.
Really?
Well, we could have been here a long time trying to guess that.
I think we would have.
Can I just check? Are we talking about the teddy as in the
No.
Yes.
the snap through?
There's no other kind.
Talking about a teddy bear. Let's have a look at the teddy bear.
That is worth having for Christmas, isn't it?
Next. Diana Rigg's computer password revealed to be what?
A secret.
Knob.
No, but it is rude.
Cocksucker.
No.
Arsehole.
No.
Wank.
No.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really bad firm of solicitors.
I'm sure I had a letter from them the other day.
Some of them work with Faber and Faber.
Fuck off.
Correct.
Oh.
Diana Rigg's computer password revealed to be fuck off.
Next, Boxer asked to sign what was in Newcastle?
Is it Ant and Dec Shins?
Is that their surname?
They're not related.
Are they not brothers?
No.
Oh. I thought they were twins.
No.
They're identical.
Are they? No, they're not.
No, they're not identical.
What, Ant and Dec?
Yeah. Are you all right?
Ian, do you get asked for autographs?
Yeah, and I will sign the same. Perfectly reasonable. Jeffrey Archer.
Ian doesn't get asked for selfies, he does brass rubbings. That's true.
Mystery tree beast turns out to be...
That's Nigel Farage. Ah, yes, I know this one. I saw a bin bag full of chickpeas.
Actually, the answer is a croissant. Animal welfare officers in Poland were alerted to a mysterious beast in a tree which turned out to be a croissant. Here is the offending pastry.
Next, woman bought what for bargain price online, but turned out to be what?
Is it the woman who bought a PCR test and it turned out to be an injection of cholera?
No.
No, I've just made that up.
No, it's woman bought patio furniture for bargain price online, but turned out to be doll's house furniture. Here she is with the furniture.
That is a masterpiece.
It's a lovely photograph. It captures her disappointment.
Next, Boris Johnson hires what to make Rishi Sunak what?
Poor people to make Rishi Sunak feel richer than his wife.
Is it platform shoes?
To make him taller?
Boris Johnson hires tall men to make Rishi Sunak feel small. A senior Conservative MP has claimed that Boris Johnson deliberately hires tall ministers in order to make Rishi Sunak look small. For similar reasons, he surrounds Nadine Dorries with competent people.
Here is Rishi doing some glove puppetry. Never thought I'd say that.
Oh, yeah, he's explaining the budget to the PM, isn't he?
So there's just time for the caption competition.
A man struggles to remember where he left large yellow farm vehicle.
Is he just going, I followed through, fetch the pooper scooper?
Ah, Robin, now I know why they call you the boy wonder.
What actually is it?
I think it is a pepper pot, or he's very pleased to see.
Did you get this on Grindr?
And I leave you with news that as Labour's popularity surges, Angela Rayner is forced to deny doing all she can to keep Keir Starmer out of public view.
To mark Angela Merkel's stepping down after 16 years as German Chancellor, the Christian Democrats throw a wild party.
Prince Andrew laughs off claims that he's avoiding US authorities during an early morning stroll in the grounds of Windsor.
And there's an awkward moment at Chester Zoo as one of the animals notices that a visitor has sat on a Werther's original.
Good night.
Thank you.